What's happening, guys? Happy Sunday, and welcome to the Dynasty WarZone, the People's Dynasty podcast. On tonight's show, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Some win now, Dynasty trade targets, and he's back from vacation. It must be really, really cold compared to where he went on vacation. The ever hoodied, backward hatted Mr. Jerry Sinclair, the man of the hour and the man with the power, buddy. Welcome back.
Yeah, listen, it's good to be back. It's actually not cold in central Iowa, but the fiance keeps it at like 34 degrees in the apartment. So I gotta, I gotta stay cozy. I don't know if you see, I don't have enough manhood in my relationship. She is the absolute alpha in the situation. So the climate is controlled by her. What can I say?
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. So my wife is a big believer in quote unquote sleep hygiene, and there is some sleep. There's like if sleep was anything else other than sleep, it would be considered a performance enhancing drug, and she's big into sleep hygiene and a mask and cold, and it's like, dude, like I have to wait till she falls asleep. I sneak upstairs and turn the thermostat up 2 degrees so that the fan doesn't run the entire time we're trying to record a podcast, because that's what she does. She cranks it down colder than a witch's tit in a brass bra. But real quick, Jerry, while you were gone, I did a lot of bonus shows, man. I had to do bonus shows without you. We missed you.
Yeah, well, you're a psychopath who does an ungodly amount of shows anyway. But listen, it's good to be back. It's tough to leave a place where you just are in a pool and have fruity drinks. It was a hard life for 2 weeks. That's all I'll say.
A hard life, the all-inclusive life, by the way, the all-inclusive life of a man named Jerry Sinclair. But yeah, I was over here slaving over a hot microphone. I converted the fundamental theorem of Dynasty Fantasy Football. That's live on the Dynasty WarZone YouTube channel, as well as the Dynasty WarZone podcast channel. So we had that going for us, which was good. And if you heard me at the top of the show, happy Sunday. Yeah, if you want this early and a few less ads, you might head over to YouTube if you're a podcast subscriber, because then you can just set your phone down, you can put it on the charger, you can go listen. Pretty much this way. I'll leave it at this, and we'll jump right into the body of the show. We got a lot to cover. I ain't wasting no time, because we ain't got no time to waste. It's 2 shows. If you're an audio consumer, Spotify, Apple, Google Play, whatever, Dynasty WarZone feed, Player Profiler feed. If you're a YouTube consumer, Player Profiler feed, Dynasty WarZone feed. It is that simple. You'll never miss any content from us here at the Dynasty WarZone. But Mr. Jerry, before we get back into everything and continue the art of getting caught back up, let's take just a quick word to hear about our friends from Underdog.
Let's take a moment to talk about Underdog Fantasy. Now, many of you have already signed up. Thousands have signed up from Player Profiler already over the years. Underdog has supported us since 2020. Much of what you see on Player Profiler is because of Underdog, because of their support. Get the Underdog app, plug in that promo code Underworld. I used to play Underdog just for the best ball drafts. I mean, the best ball drafts are amazing. These draft rooms fill so quickly, and you can win life-changing money. You want to take advantage of all the sleepers we talk about on this show? Well, what better place than in an Underdog draft room to do that? And I recommend taking your Underdog play to the next level by diving into their NFL pick'ems. It's important to correlate those NFL pick'ems. You can pick both the quarterbacks and the wide receivers to exceed expectations. Correlate them, and you can 5x your payout. Bada bing, bada boom. Underdog Fantasy, the promo code is Underworld. For an instant deposit match up to $100. Underdog is the truest friend of the Underworld.
Yes, very well said. The truest friend of the Underworld. And Underworld, that's our new home. And Underdog is our sponsor. So, Jerry, anything else on vacation before we jump into good people, bad tweets? Anything else you want to reminisce on?
It was a good time. I came back, got my Scott Fishbowl invite. I don't know if Randy pulled his things or I just finally got my unfortunate, invite, but I'm excited for that. I think this is year 4 or 5 in a row. Feel blessed every time to do that because it took me a long time to be able to get into that some bitch. I have had some very, very good runs and some absolutely atrocious, embarrassing showings also. So I am very hot and cold when it comes to the Scott Fish Bowl so far.
Yeah, and the draft's less than a month away. Right now, I'm working with Ryan McDowell of DLF to get him on the Kiss the Ring podcast. That's my player profiler only podcast. We're going to do one this coming Monday. Ryan's not on that one, but I've got Ryan coming up in the future to do the Kiss the Ring podcast, talking about what it's like to put together the world's largest fantasy football
a pain in the ass. That's
yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work. They raise a shitload of money for charity, and it's absolutely fantastic what Ryan and Scott are doing. So I'm excited to talk to him. And then I noticed your avatar. You got the Moes. You picked the Moes division.
Yeah. Well,
you were there for a long time.
Yeah, so Dynasty WarZone listeners will know that I was at Mo Southwest Grill for 12 years. I was their GM before we moved out to Iowa because my wife is going to vet school here. Go Cyclones. So yeah, it was an easy choice. I hated Mo's for 12 years, but now I look back on it romantically and appreciate my time and yada yada yada. So hopefully I can kick the hell out of everybody in that draft and move up in the playoffs and take home the Scott Fish Bowl championship and all the glory that it comes with and be a wonderful champion and not an embarrassment to you.
Well, you guys all did better than I did last year, but there'll be a lot more Scott Fish Bowl talk as we get closer to the draft. But unfortunately, we're going to be like the Bloods and the Crips.
The Crip Mac on hood.
Because I'm in the Chipotle division. I'm in Chipotle. You are in Moe's. And so it's
Chipotle is absolutely we are hitting the burrito market for sure. But I do love me some Chipotle.
We are going to be talking about Scott Fish Bowl and a lot of burritos here in the not too distant future. But I do want to talk about some good people, bad tweets. Now okay. I tried to save this one for my buddy Sheps. Now Sheps was filling in for me last week. Next week, our buddy Matty Kiwoom going to be filling in for me because I'll be in Iowa for a baseball tournament. And if you don't know Matty Kiwoom, shame on yourself. Matty is awesome. He recently trimmed up the mullet, but he did a great show on Saturday. At least it came out on YouTube on Saturday. I know the podcast has dropped too. With Alan Seslowski from I can't shake it. I just can't. But Alan and Maddie did a great show. So make sure you check that out. And then I will be watching. I'll actually have it in my head, not watching because I'll be driving. I'll have it in my headphones next week when you and Maddie and I don't know who else may stop by to hang out with you guys. I don't know. I'm not even going to be here. It's your problem, Jerry.
That's true. That's fine.
It's just true. All right, let's get into it. Adam Rank. Now, Adam Rank is is he like the Walmart version of Matthew Berry for NFL Network?
That's fair.
Is that fair? Yeah. I mean, yeah. He feels like.
I mean, that feels a little disrespectful because he does do good stuff, but yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying he does bad stuff. But this is a pretty brutal tweet, Jerry. I'm just going to be very honest. Okay.
Okay.
And I don't get it. I don't know if it's attention seeking. He's looking for buzzwords. He's looking for engagement. Hey, I'm going to put a Dallas player in this. But Adam said, CeeDee Lamb seems to be going unnoticed in fantasy drafts that I've done so far, which is a mistake. He scored 15 plus points in 11 games last year. Good for third in the league. I expect similar, if not better production this year. Jerry, I stand before you just befuddled and confused. I got to do it.
This motherfucker on the planet. Holy shit.
I mean, it's pretty stupid. It's a bad take. I know CeeDee Lamb is my dynasty wide receiver 3. How is that unnoticed? And I look at
just tell me that Jackson Smith and Jigba is going unnoticed in the rookie draft.
I mean, what are we doing, Adam? I mean, this is horrible. I mean, in one QB best ball or mock drafts for seasonal leagues, he's going around the 1-2 turn. How is a guy who's a border first round draft pick in seasonal leagues, the third wide receiver off the board, He's literally almost in a tier all by himself at the wide receiver position for Dynasty. Would you agree?
I would agree.
I mean, it's Jamar Chase, who the Podfather has as his 101. Now, I'm still a Justin Jefferson guy, but
Me too, but they're there.
But that's a tier. That's a tier. Then CD Lamb is like, to me, CD Lamb, and I know some people have like AJ Brown right there with him.
Yep.
You know, a couple other guys. I think CD Lamb's almost in like this unique situation by himself, because what would you have to get in addition to, you know, AJ Brown to make you move CD Lamb?
Yeah, I mean,
It would be something, right?
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to do that trade straight up. I mean, it almost feels like you would have to offer AJ Brown and a first to get CD Lamb in a second.
I mean, depending on the person, yeah. Because I mean, there's going to be people that'll take AJ Brown over CD Lamb. I am not those people.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, but
CD Lamb's good at football.
it's a horseshit take. It's a horseshit take.
Do you think
you're farming to be the bad guy? Essentially, is what that is. Like you're trying too hard to be the heel.
Oh, that is true. You know what? That's a damn good take, because Adam considers himself a bit of like he mixes in a lot of pro wrestling in you know, his content as well. You know, I haven't watched pro wrestling in like many years. Like you always talk about young Jerry back in the high school days, you know, and in your Rock t-shirt and DX, and telling people maybe that's what he's doing. Now, when I got out of the pro wrestling thing, you know, I got into the MMA thing. And I'm just going to close this one out with this little bit right here.
You know how fucking stupid you have to be to even think something like that, let alone say it publicly and act like you're fucking serious.
So I've become more of a Dana White guy, less of a WWE guy. I just didn't get the tweet. I didn't get the take. It felt like it was to your point, it was engagement farming and just
which it is. And I guess if you're in his spot, like I don't want to judge you. It worked, right? Like we're talking about it, but you're not helping anybody with nonsense like that. And if that's what you're trying to do, which as a fantasy analyst, you know, you think that's what you're trying to do, you're not.
We're going to be talking about dynasty veteran or dynasty win now players in just a second, but is there a wide receiver that maybe fits that bill for you this year? Is there a young guy that, you know, that is going unnoticed in fantasy drafts that you think could be really valuable?
I think the easy answer is probably Drake London, but I don't think he's going unnoticed either. You know what I mean? But like if there's a person that could take an extreme jump, and listeners of the longtime listeners of the DWZ will know that we sort of shit on Drake London, you know, as a prospect, and we weren't exactly wrong.
It wasn't exactly
he did not
wrong.
Set the world on fire.
But for me, it was health based. It was He had never played more. Drake London being your guy. I think for me, and I think as long as he's on the Denver Broncos, the guy that I think's going unnoticed is Courtland Sutton. So I was listening to John Middlecoff, who is a tremendous football podcaster in his own right. Doesn't do fantasy, just does podcasting. And he was talking about an interview he saw with Sean Payton, talking about how Russell Wilson's got to get back to playing basketball on grass. And this is what we were excited for last year, is the DK Metcalf role. That's the guy that I think is going unnoticed. When I think of wide receivers that are quote unquote going unnoticed, you know, what's he going, like wide receiver 40, 36, somewhere in that neighborhood? And I think he's a guy that could really give you a lot of value, because I think the whole entire offense goes up. I think with Sean Payton, you may actually get Jerry Jeudy as that Tyler Lockett type, and you might get Courtland Sutton as that DK Metcalf type. So for me, those are the kind of wide receivers. Drake London to a degree. But
yeah, I mean he's still going pretty early, but not like CD Lamb. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? And yeah, and Snowman's right. Like we did. You want people talking about it, I guess. All publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In a world where I just,
how does Jerry?
I use my platform. Not saying I'm some brilliant human being, because I'm not. My entire mantra has been to tell people the mistakes I have made and that I have learned from, so that they don't make those in their same life as a dynasty player. And Adam Rank has played a ton of fantasy and he knows lots about it. And just saying things like that is irrelevant because it doesn't exist.
Well, Jerry, it gave me a chance to play not one but two Dana White sound bites, so I'm totally here for that. I'm always looking for a chance to play the soundboard. So, but these people are here to talk about win now dynasty players. So the floor is yours. Welcome back to your own show. Who is a win now? Well, let me ask you this before you get into that. What's your definition of a win now player? When I say Jerry,
you are an absolute professional, because I was going to start off with how I am going to quantify this, and you underhanded it to me like a real peach. I would say that a person that is a win now candidate is somebody that is absolutely on the descending graph of dynasty value. Their value is not going to go up at any point, but that does not mean they cannot help you win the damn thing now and make your friends cry and win you some money. And the first one I'm going to do is someone who is old, someone who is absolutely not worth the production that they are going to give you this year. They've even got a little bit of injuries in the recent history. It's Derrick Henry. You can get Derrick Henry for cheap, especially in rookie season.
What do you think? Like a first?
110?
Okay. I mean,
what's 110? Like Kendra Miller?
In a one QB,
in there?
I mean, maybe.
A little. He's probably going a little earlier, probably in that. But what is this offense going to be? Like, are we going to rely on rookie Will Levis to just come in and set the world on fire? Are we going to think Ryan Tannehill is just going to have a third wind? Like, I can't see it. And we got Treylon Burks and then dog water as the other pass catchers in that offense. So what are they going to do? Are they going to rely on maybe Treylon Burks exploding? Or are they going to rely on the absolute animal that is Derrick Henry? And we've still got Vrabes as their coach there. The entire foundation of this man has been defense and running the ball since he's gotten there, and they still have Derrick Henry. They are going to just run this man until he dies. And I don't know if he ever will, because up to this point, he probably already should have, but he's already a superhuman.
Well, I'm looking at some...
Go ahead.
No. So I'm looking at some...
I'm just going to say his trade acquisition cost is nothing, and he's going to finish as an RB8 at worst.
Can I push back just a little bit on you?
Yeah, I mean, of course.
For me, I get that Derrick Henry was last year's RB3 on the season in full point PPR. I get it. But to your point, it's like, what's this offense going to be? I mean, if you're a defensive coordinator, aren't you going all out to stop Derrick Henry and just taking your chances with a Conquo?
But have defenses not been doing that already? And this bowling ball specimen of an athlete has absolutely embarrassed defensive coordinators and defensive players for almost a decade. The guy's an animal.
Oh, there's no question. He's part man, part animal. He's a manimal. But, I mean, for me, a running back, if I'm moving like first, just because of the nature of the running back position, if I'm going to acquire a win now running back, and I'm not trying to poo-poo on your guy, even though I'm getting ready to.
You are.
It's the classic Ricky Bobby with all due respect. And so that means I can say whatever the hell I want. It's in the law. I believe it's in the Geneva Convention.
Well, who are you taking?
Well, hold on. I'm not going running back there because I'm waiting until like my league's trade deadline to make sure he's healthy. Because go ahead.
Here's why I want to get Derrick Henry now. He's only going to get more expensive. Because week one, Randy, he's going to put up 125 yards and maybe a touchdown. And even if he doesn't, he's still going to get 24 carries. The first month of the season, he's going to have 100 touches, and his value is going to go up because that rookie sizzle is gone, and now we're in point scoring. So the person with Marvin Mims, who's, you'll pay a pretty early pick for Marvin Mims considering, but in the first month of the season, I'm going to guess he's got about 13 total points combined.
Now he's not on my list, but I'll discuss him more in the overtime. It'll be a separate video later in the week on Player Profiler. It is Alvin Kamara. Well, you're going to say, but Memphis, he's going to be suspended for exactly. He is going to be suspended for 10 games. So when I'm going to have him? The fantasy football playoffs.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know when he's going to get suspended. If he's going to get suspended, cool. But you know what? When he comes back week 11, unless that's their bye, then week 12, you know what's right around the corner? The fantasy playoffs. I know I'm going to get him when he's healthy. I want him to get suspended. If I can give you a second for Alvin
Right.
Kamara right now, if I give you a second today, I want Alvin Kamara to get suspended tomorrow for 10 games. Same as Kareem Hunt for violence on video. I mean, it's not apples to apples, but you get my point. I want him to get his 10 games. I want him to go away, and I want him to show up healthy, happy, and ready to get to work in week 11 or 12.
Because he's still under contract too.
Bingo. And then I can get all those fantasy points and not have to worry about if I trade for Derrick Henry now for a first, I have to wait from now and hope, because he's 29. And I know he's been pretty much indestructible up to this point, but he's still 29, and his one injury of real concern throughout his career is a foot. And they don't make strong feet. They don't get better with age. Again, so I'm not poo-pooing. I don't disagree that Derrick Henry is going to be a point-scoring son of a bitch, but because of the running back, and my first guy, I'll go ahead and jump into it.
Okay.
My first guy is Keenan Allen. And, Keenan Allen played less games than Brian Robinson last year, and Brian Robinson got shot twice. And, Keenan Allen, missed pretty much 10 games. He played the first game, got hurt, tried to squeeze in another one, somewhere along the way. And then he came back and played week 11 through 18. And Jerry, do you know where he finished wide receiver what in weeks 11 through 18?
I don't, but you're going to let me know.
3. He was the wide receiver 3.
No shit, really?
Wide receiver 3 overall in that time period, scoring 16 points a game. The year
now,
before,
how much you think Keenan's costing you though?
I'm getting there. Now, in the year before, he played 16 of the 17 games.
Yeah.
Scored 16 points a game, finished as the wide receiver 11. Could your fantasy roster, could your dynasty roster on a win now team use 16 points a game?
Yep, 100%.
Mine sure could. I mean, I think you could get him for any second. I think you could literally get him for any second in drafts right now. You may have to throw. I mean, let's say most of your rookie drafts are probably done. There's probably 100%. There's probably some really nifty old school rookie drafts out there where everybody gets together and you play paintball or a round of golf, or you have some beers, and that's awesome. But for the most part, most rookie drafts are done. If I had to, I wouldn't like it, but if I had to give up like Marvin Mims to get Keenan Allen on a win now team, fine. Maybe last year you finished 4th in your league and you have the 109 draft pick and you drafted at the 109 in a super flex league, and then Marvin Mims fell to 209, which he did in several of my rookie drafts. And if I had to give up Marvin Mims to go get Keenan Allen on a win now team, yeah, I am. Especially if I can make him my wide receiver 3 or like a depth wide receiver, where I may be forced some weeks to decide between him and a running back 3 that I really like. But we've seen over the course of his last, we'll call it 27 games, 25 games, the guy's 16 points a game. Lock it up.
And Justin Herbert's pretty good. I mean, he's still there.
And he actually got an improvement at the offensive coordinator. My man Michael Lombardi, who hosts the GM Shuffle podcast, calls him the joystick. Says he's not good at running an offense, but he's great at calling plays. It's like he's playing Madden, so he calls him the joystick. So he's got a guy that's going to help put up points. They're going to be passing. I absolutely love Keenan Allen given his cost, because Jerry, you're an experienced dynasty gamer, and you were shocked when I said he was the wide receiver 3.
I was, and I have been fully engaged in fantasy football throughout that entire time frame that you gave me, and it did surprise me. I will absolutely not poo-poo that like you did, my dear man Derrick Henry.
I mean, you still got to be careful. You still got to be careful. He could pull a hammy again.
Of course. But that's going to be the case with everyone that we're talking about, because we're talking about finding values that their points are going to exceed their dynasty value for sure.
I would be honest. I'm so impressed with his points per game when I was doing the research for this episode that if I had to give you my 24 second and my 25 third, just take it. Just take it, because I want to win. I want to win championships. You know,
and that's the thing, and that acquisition cost there, right? Like a second and a third, that's wide receiver 4 on your team prices. And so if you're going to get somebody with Keenan Allen's production and you're going to put him in as your starting wide receiver 3, that's a championship level wide receiver 3. The guys that you are challenging, the other contenders, it is going to be very hard for them to have a better wide receiver 3 than you if you're starting Keenan Allen, and the acquisition cost is cheap to do it.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think you could get in addition to Keenan Allen for Cooper Kupp? So we're just, and the reason why I ask is it's a name
First
trap.
plus, probably.
I mean, I move Cooper Kupp for 2 late first and then like a future pick, like a second. So, I mean, if you could get Keenan Allen and a first, sold. If I have to add a third to Keenan Allen, sold. Because here's the thing. Yeah, you may give up 3 or 4 points per game if everything goes according to it has the last couple of years. But you know what the age difference is between Keenan Allen and Cooper Kupp?
1 year? 0 years, maybe?
Like 18 months.
Yeah.
I mean, 18 months. Like when you say Keenan Allen, he's been in the league since forever. It feels like he's an 11-year vet.
True.
You know, they're practically the same age. So for me,
I mean, to an extent, Cooper Kupp is sort of a value too, just because of the injury and the age. His name is gonna cost more, which is why
your next guy.
No, he's not. I do have a wide receiver as my next guy.
Let's hear your next guy.
Ready? I'm gonna go with another unsexy guy.
I'm gonna write down a name. So this is for like the studio audience. This is why you should be watching on YouTube. I've got it. This is a pin.
Okay.
I'm gonna write this down while you say the name.
Okay. You got it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Is it a Cleveland Brown wide receiver?
Oh no, I didn't get it right.
It's Amari Cooper.
Okay, I for the people watching it, I wrote Mike Evans.
Okay. I thought about Mike Evans, but the quarterback situation is too iffy for me.
Well, it wasn't the quarterback situation. Mike Evans has produced with junk quarterback situations in the past. For me, it's how Baker passes the ball. Like Baker, you know, because of his height and like his like propensity to always scramble out of one side of the pocket, he's not a push the ball down the boundary, you know, kind of guy. That I think he really suits Godwin more than Evans. So I couldn't go Godwin. So okay, I was wrong. Amari Cooper, but spit.
Listen, there's an argument for Mike Evans too, 100%. But Amari Cooper, he's got Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has shown himself capable. Yes, last year was absolute poop. History has shown this man to be a top 5 dynasty asset at the quarterback position. I am going to just go ahead and take that. I am a guy with a history degree, so I use history quite often. And he has been highly productive. One bad season after having a very long break, emerging into a new offense, moved to a new city, yada, yada, yada. Shake the rust off, got a whole off season, building a rapport with Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper has been pretty good. He's never been the guy that we wanted him to be when he was that elite profile prospect. Still been really good his whole career. And his value is just non-existent because he's never been sexy. Like and when he was sexy, he disappointed. So he's always, the last 2 to 3 seasons, he's just been a nice value that you could just, he's another guy that you can just get in that like wide receiver 3 price range. And it's just, that's a great wide receiver to have to win you a championship. He's going to get 1,200 because let's talk about the competition that he has. Okay. Elijah Moore, right? Some people like Elijah Moore. What has he shown to show me that he's going to be relevant in that offense? Cedric Tillman is a rookie. Like I like him. I have, I got quite a few shares of him, probably half a dozen, but like those are scratch offs that I'm holding on my roster and hoping they turn out to be something. Amari Cooper is the guy. And if Deshaun Watson is 80% of what Deshaun Watson has been in the league already, Amari Cooper is going to be extremely productive and he's going to help you out. And because he's mostly steak and not a lot of sizzle, you're going to be able to acquire him for a value. Value and volume.
Well, I mean, and he seemed to have avoided the DeAndre Hopkins scare because Cleveland has fallen down the odds of actually acquiring Mr. Cooper. Do you know where he finished last year when you do all 17 games in PPR? Do you know where Cooper finished?
13 would be my
10.
guess. Okay.
10. And that was with some combination of Jacoby Biscuits Brissett and
the worst version of Deshaun Watson we've ever seen.
And you're absolutely right. And dude, you know, first of all, real quick, everybody in the chat, you're absolutely killing it. PJ, Harry, all you guys, Josh, I really appreciate everything you guys are doing in the chat. Elijah Moore is very, very, very good. But I do believe in rapport, and I do believe in that veteran premium.
Is he though?
I mean, he's going.
I mean, he's had like a 600-yard season. Like,
I mean,
he's a fine as an NFL wide receiver. But I play fantasy, and there is not a competitive team that started him and won.
Well,
there's just not.
I don't want to give it away because I covered it the other night in my my little bonus guys that I'm trading for. We actually covered it in our Patreon group chat the other day. But yeah, Amari Cooper, wide receiver 34 off the board in the startup right now, nestled ever so snugly between Quentin Johnston and Calvin Ridley. I'm not sure I want either of those guys, even in a dynasty, even with young guys, ahead of Amari Cooper, and damn sure not on a win now team, Jerry. So I have to agree. Anything else on Amari Cooper? And yes, everybody in the chat, we do agree Moore is very good. My man, Donovan Peoples-Jones, I see you, PJ. Yeah, Donovan Peoples-Jones got nuked.
Yeah, he did. And it sucks because I was definitely acquiring him early in the offseason, just sort of hoping.
Just hoping a prayer.
Wasted those trades. Good job, Jerry.
Yeah, but I will say this on Cleveland. It really feels like Cleveland wants to move to a pass-first offense.
Yes.
Like
it might not be the case this year. They're still they're going to go bananas with Chubb, but I mean Chubb's still going to get a ton.
Chubb's going to be great.
But I agree they are definitely
Chubb is going to be great because they're going to score more. So his touchdown upside is going to go way up with a better scoring offense. But to your point, I mean, he's not going to be relevant for fantasy, but there's going to be a game where Donovan Peoples-Jones catches a 65-yard touchdown, and then Cedric Tillman is the guy who will replace him. So Amari Cooper is a win now piece. You're going to, probably the same prices you're going to give up to get Keenan Allen, probably a little bit cheaper. I think people hate Amari Cooper more than they hate just Keenan Allen, which is odd. Hey, I've always been that guy. I've never liked Amari Cooper, but I like points and I like winning. So pop quiz, Jerry. Where did Tyler Higbee finish last year in the tight end position and tight end premium scoring? 1.75 premium.
You're gonna make me look stupid because I literally have no idea.
I'll
just say 15.
How about 6?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna make me look stupid with that one.
He was the tight end 6, and you know what? People were like, "Well, of course he was." He got all those targets when Cooper Kupp got hurt. No, it actually got worse. He was actually doing better with Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford than before he got hurt. So he actually went from tight end 6 overall from the time that he had Stafford and Kupp. And then those last week, also weeks 11 through 18, he dropped down to tight end 9 in that window. So he was actually better with Kupp and Stafford. And they literally added no one of consequence to this offense. I mean, they lost Allen Robinson, which... Did they lose anything?
No.
And they still have Ben Skoranek. They got Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, and then rookie Puka Nacua. I mean, unless I'm missing somebody, I think Tyler Higbee, if you can't afford, like maybe last year you played in the league and you got absolutely smoked by Travis Kelce, or you got absolutely smoked by like George Kittle, and you can't get Mark Andrews and you can't get TJ Hawkinson. And I bet you it would cost you more to get Darren Waller than it would cost you to get Tyler Higbee.
It definitely would.
And all these guys that we're mentioning, we understand that you could be setting this draft capital or the young player equivalent on fire. But this is the cost of winning now. When you want to win now, you are willing to risk something of the future because you understand your window is finite. Think about what the Buffalo Bills are trying to do. The Buffalo Bills is trying to they're talking to James Cook. Dalvin Cook. They've already got James, the brothers Cook. They're talking to James Cook's brother Dalvin. They're talking to DeAndre Hopkins. They brought in Leonard Floyd. They are trying to do whatever they can. Now they couldn't go out and make a big splash because they got the quarterback on the big extension, but they are literally going out, and Von Miller last year. They are literally going to get anything possible to try to push them over the hump, and they'll deal with the ramifications from a cap and a pick trading standpoint down the road. That's what we're talking about here. I'm not talking about moving your first. Your first is your influx of fresh talent. I'm only moving my first now that we're past most of my drafts. I'm only moving my first in season, and that's going to be like that final push. I'm not even considering moving my 2024 first until the trade deadline, or if your league doesn't have a trade deadline, until like the playoffs start.
Because it is hard to predict how things are going to be, and if you end up with some catastrophic injuries or legal issues or whatever could affect your team, and you don't have the first, you are going to be the saddest, most depressed little person 365 days from now. I'm with you, but I know I complain about the tight end position a lot. But the fact that Tyler Higbee was the tight end 6, can we just talk about what a disaster that position is if that's where he was? Because how many points did he have? It couldn't have been that many. Are we talking 9 points a game with a 1.75 premium? Ew.
You know what? It was actually 11 with the premium.
Okay. Gross. That's absolutely gross that puts that man at tight end 6. But you have to start him, and so you're not wrong. It's just more fuel for my hatred of that entire position.
He had 6 games where he scored 15 points or more in that format, and including week 16, which probably would have been like your semifinals. He scored 35 points that week with Baker Mayfield. So there is a range of outcomes where he does you well. I'll just go up to their bye. I don't remember when Stafford got hurt and was done for the year, but he had 11.4. Again, this is 1.75 tight end premium, 11.4, 17.6, 12.1, 22.3, 15.1. So the first 5 games with Stafford, a healthy-ish Stafford, he was solid, Jerry. So I know you hate the tight end position, though.
Yeah, but it's not a bad one.
Well, hold on. Before you do that, we still have. I know, and Jerry, you love talking fantasy football, and we're going to do it right after we hear about the Dynasty Dominator. We're here to dominate Dynasty. Let's use tools.
Now, I know many of you are looking for a secret weapon for your Dynasty League, and I have it. It's called the Dynasty Dominator app. You go to the App Store, go to Google Play. It's right there. It's $5 to download, and then every year it's $5 to load the next incoming class of rookies. You can add Superflex, add tight end premium. It's incredible because it allows you to look up players. It allows you to vote on whether a player is a buy, hold, or sell, and then see the market sentiment on that player. And you can compare their lifetime value rating from Player Profiler to their Dynasty ADP at the FFPC, all in the price lookup tool. And beyond that, we have a trade analyzer, so you'll never lose another Dynasty trade again. And in our settings, you can set this is a win now team, this is a rebuilding team, and then we let you compare players. Look at their metrics side by side, prospect metrics, NFL metrics. It's all there. It's $5 in the App Store. There's some add-ons for Superflex and to buy the upcoming rookie class. Every year, you're going to spend $5 on this thing, and it's going to be well worth it.
$5, Jerry. You want to hear a story about $5?
Yeah.
So after the baseball game with my son the other day, we stopped at Burger King. Now we both got a Burger King.
All right, child abuse, but it's fine,
dude. It was that or not feed him. And so. And by the way, we love Burger King. If you want to sponsor the show, Burger King, we'd love to have you.
I was just kidding. Love the Whopper.
We could have it your way, but Chipotle hit us up too, but we stopped. Both got the exact same thing: Whopper combo meal, large fry, large drink. Because we were starving. We'd been in a doubleheader. We literally had like whatever food my wife, out of the kindness of her heart, threw into a snackle box for us, and that was all the food that we had. We were starving. What do you think 2 Whopper combos large size cost us?
$28.
$24 and change. And I was like, what are we doing here? $24 for Whoppers? And good Lord gracious. Listen.
And you could dominate Dynasty for $5.
And you could literally, for like, that's for 1/5 of our tab.
7 of your fries.
You can download an app that literally helps you win fantasy football games and dynasty leagues. But anyway, let's jump into about four more win now, guys. Do you have anybody else? Who's winning your final 2?
You know what? I've just been going, different positions. So let's keep it going. Let's talk quarterbacks, bud. Kirk Cousins. What's this man got to do? Since he's been in Minnesota, Randall, let's talk about this guy. Last year, 4,500 yards, 29 touchdowns. Year before, 42, 33 touchdowns. Year before, 42, 35 touchdowns. Like every single year he's been in Minnesota, this guy has been a QB1. And every single offseason, he's easy to acquire. I get it that he's corny. He's maybe the corniest, cringiest human being that maybe has ever lived on this planet.
Have you ever heard of Russell Wilson?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, as my son calls him, he calls him Perk Thuggins.
Oh, Jesus. See, that's a Gen Z kid right there. I understand it, and he chokes in the primetime games. He's done that since college. As a person who had season tickets when he was the quarterback at MSU, believe me, I understand. The Iowa game still hurts my heart, and that was 13 years ago. But the man has been productive. He is the epitome of a championship level QB2 in a Superflex league. And he is an absolute steal in a 1 QB dynasty league where you can just load up at every single other position, punt QB until extremely late, and then there's Kirk Cousins. I don't understand. I'll never understand it. I could have said this exact same podcast the last 4 seasons, and he is just continuously bop, produced. And now, not only does he have Justin Jefferson, he's got Jordan Addison there.
Well,
and the elite producing running back that they've had, he's not there getting 270 touches. They're going to have to throw it.
Point is that you literally gave what was the QB 11 2 years ago and the QB 8 last year. You gave him Jordan Addison, a full season with TJ Hawkinson, and a coach that wants to throw the ball more and more and more. He plays in a dome. I know that doesn't matter to a lot. It matters to me. I love fast track.
If you live in the upper Midwest in January, in December, when it hurts to breathe, let alone play football, playing in the domes, that's a W.
Yeah, I think that's a steal now. And he's going to be 36. So you'll have to figure out what to do with him next year. But there's going to be work for Kirk Cousins. There's going to be a team that looks around. And, the Colts are out of this business. It feels like the Raiders are in this spin cycle of just, rehashing. Here's the thing. And I know this is crazy and it sounds like blasphemy because they've got the guy that everybody loves in Trey Lance. They've got the 7th round savior in Big Cock Brock Purdy. But do not be surprised next year if Kyle Shanahan does not make a run at free agent Kirk Cousins for 2 seasons. I'm telling you, if my prediction that Sam Darnold's this year's Geno Smith could happen, I'm telling myself that could happen. But listen, so a couple of weeks ago I did the Mind to Mansion with Matt Kelly, and he was like, who's he ends every show with "Who's your truther?" And I was like, Sam Darnold has broke me of truthers. I still stand for Sam Darnold, but no more. He broke my heart into 1,000 bajillion little pieces. So yeah, I'm still working for him. But dude, Kirk Cousins is going to land somewhere. So to your point, 2 years ago, last year, he averaged 19 points a game. And again, we gave him Jordan Addison. I know Lamar didn't play them all. You know how many points a game Lamar scored last year? Standard ESPN scoring? 20.
Oh.
So you can draft Lamar way up here, or you can draft Kirk Cousins way down here, or acquire him way down here at a fraction of the price. Yeah, it's a shorter term thing, but you know what Kirk Cousins never does, Jerry?
What does he never do?
He never gets hurt and misses the Dynasty playoffs.
This man has missed one game
in
his entire career.
What's the best ability?
Availability, bud.
And man, this is not a cheap shot at like Justin Fields, who missed a game last year, I believe, during the fantasy playoffs. Lamar missed them all. Jalen Hurts was banged up with his shoulder, and all those running Konami code quarterbacks are great, but you cannot beat a Kirk Cousins as your QB2 in a super flex. It's a steal. Now I have a QB as well. Now he's not as cool as Kirk Cousins, but he is in a new spot, Jerry. He also plays in a dome. It's Derek Carr. And I know Derek Carr is kind of cringy. He's in that cringy club with Perk Thuggins and Russell Wilson. Let's ride. But Derek Carr last year, QB 17, he only played 14 and a half games. They pulled him halfway through. I believe that was week 16. And then he didn't play weeks 17 or 18. He still finished as the QB 17. And if he'd played to his average the rest of the way, he would have finished as the QB 13. Now he gets Chris Olave. I know he's given up Devontae Adams, but he's getting Chris Olave, Mike Thomas for now, healthy. Maybe. Alvin Kamara not suspended. I really like Rashid Shaheed. I know that's, not a guy we're talking about. I really think he's going to be fascinating this year, especially if Kamara gets suspended. But I think it's a good offense. He's not
to bring back a very old segment we used to do. He's a very good bargain bin guy.
He is a tremendous bargain bin guy. And I know he's going to be there for a couple of years. So he's solid. He's the kind of guy that if you drafted or especially with startup season going on, shout out to the FFPC. But if you just drafted in a startup and maybe you have two potential really league-winning quarterbacks, like let's say hypothetically you walked away with Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson. Love both, right? You love both?
Okay. Yep.
Wouldn't you like to have something a little bit stable, like a Kirk Cousins, like a Derek Carr, just in case? Just in case. I know that forever an optimist.
I had who was it? Dak and Tua. Was that last year that they both got hurt, or 2 years ago? Oh my God, it was an absolute disaster.
Wouldn't you just have a stable little piece, a little nugget, just in case that the best, because I know we always in the spring, especially in June, which is technically the summer, we always default to the best case scenario. Oh, well, Jalen Hurts is just going to, run it back and have an MP. Look, guys, he could. There's one guy I trust to do that. His name's Patrick Mahomes. Everybody else is give or take. So if I can have a Derek Carr, I'll throw in Mac Jones. I talked about him the other night on a different show. Mac Jones, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins, even Ryan Tannehill will be a bargain late as long as he keeps that job. I mean, these are the kind of guys that in Superflex that will keep you afloat.
He's a tier below them, in my opinion.
Sure.
But yes.
All right. Well, Jerry, you owe me one more. So we added Perk Thuggins and Derek Carr,
which was a good one, and adding Mac Jones is a good one too, because he's likely going to be the starter. He's free. People hate him.
I'm not going to let you spoil that one. So I did that for a special. I did that for a special 10-minute, 3 guys, 3 dynasty buys. It's going to be a 10-minute segment on the Player Profiler YouTube channel. I've got you a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver. Look for that real soon. Audio version only, I guess, or video version only. But give me one last guy.
This guy's a little bit more expensive. It's Miles Sanders.
I wanted to, but I tried to avoid that because Miles Sanders is our adopted son. We love Miles Sanders in this shop.
He's never, except for his first year when he was sort of like Amari Cooper, right? Like he was going to be a savior to everybody, and it was going to be absolutely wonderful, and this elite guy at Penn State, yada yada yada, and then sort of, didn't amount to that. He's got a good situation. The offense he's the most experienced in that entire offense. They're going to rely on him. They paid him. He's safely in the league for several years. He's one of those guys that I said at the beginning that everybody is sort of descending their dynasty value graph, and his is not necessarily to that point yet. I think it is sort of plateaued, and we don't really know what it's going to be in this situation. But what I don't think it's going to be is a absolute disaster. He should get tons of touches. He's, the most experienced player on the team. He's got Reich there. He has thrown the ball to running backs a tremendous amount. He has shown that he can be a great pass catcher. And most importantly, he doesn't have Jalen Hurts stealing all of his touchdowns.
I did this stat a couple of weeks ago on a bonus Dynasty WarZone show, and I'm going to try to freelance it off the top of my head. But it was something like Frank Reich's offense from his entire time at Indy as the head coach. He averaged something like 5 targets a game to the running back position. And that may be off. It may have been as high as 7. I don't recall, but it was very frequent. It was a large percentage of passes went to the running back. So I think that's a good call. In Dynasty startups right now, he is going as RB26, right between a couple of rookies.
That is fucking wild.
Let me ask you a question real quick while you're wrapping your brain around that. Would you rather have Miles Sanders in his situation or Joe Mixon in his situation? We're talking about the RBs 24 and 26 respectively.
Miles Sanders, because he's under contract for longer.
And not a knucklehead.
And, well, that goes without saying. But contracts are such a major deal when it comes to running backs in Dynasty, and he literally just got it. So you're at least looking at 2 years, which is eons in Dynasty NFL running back time.
You want to know what's crazy?
Shoot.
Cam Akers is going ahead of Miles Sanders in Dynasties. I would never would I ever knock it off.
And listen,
Jerry, knock it off.
Cam Akers has made me started looking brilliant. But, he came on, he did very well to end last season, and that's why the hype is there. He sort of he's okey-doking us a little bit. He's hitting us with that Tyler Higbee 2018 or whenever the hell that season was, where he ended well, and then everybody overhyped him. But that's absolutely wild. Like, I would probably put Miles Sanders as like RB11. Like, I think people no. The contracts are such a major deal. Look at how much value shifts immediately with running backs. Stability says something with that position, and he is stable. You don't have to worry about him until 2025, maybe.
Well, he's got 2 years based on the contract, but we know these contracts are like, tissue paper. So you're saying that you have him like in that back end RB1 range. So yes. So you're saying because of the ambiguity around Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs, Rashad White.
I think Josh Jacobs will get a contract, so I would still take Josh Jacobs before him. I will take Miles Sanders over Tony Pollard 82 out of 100 times.
Dude, you can go do yourself a favor and hug a Devi bro. If you have a Devi bro in your life, the consensus here is DeAndre Swift is the RB17. I'm not taking DeAndre Swift over. I'm not taking him over Derrick Henry. I'm not taking him over Joe Mixon. I'm not taking him over Miles Sanders.
Personally, I'm not either, but I could understand where I would be very wrong in that situation. There is a lot. Well, he's very good. Every time he's played, he's been very good. That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like he's been very good. I mean, he's been explosive. He's shown that he can be tremendous. The problem is bro gets hurt too damn much, and he needs to be minimized with his touches because he gets hurt so damn much, and he's got Jalen Hurts stealing shit from him. So listen, I'm taking all of those guys over DeAndre Swift too, but it's not inconceivable that he can't make us look fucking stupid no matter how much you pinch your nose. I'm just saying.
Well, the only way that DeAndre Swift is going to make me look stupid is if he signs in 2024 as the replacement for Austin Eckler in LA. Then I look stupid. That's
but if that situation happens, his acquisition cost becomes too fucking sky high that he's not even worth getting on your team.
He is not going to make me look stupid in 2023 in that Philadelphia backfield. There's no passing volume. There's just none. There's none. And you can mealy mouth it all you want. Not you. I'm talking about people in general and you. But you can mealy mouth it all you want. There's no passing volume, and that's what he needs to thrive when you're in a running back field with Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad Penny, and Boston Scott. So I've always liked the talent, but I'm over the talent. I'm not being fooled anymore. But I do have one last guy, and he's a post-hype sleeper, and that's A.J. Dillon. Now, he'll be a free agent as well, but we all know Aaron Jones's contract was made to get cut after the season. And when you have a good defense, and I personally believe that Green Bay has the best defense in the NFC North, and I don't think it's remarkably close. You know, I think Chicago can make a push this year. I really believe they brought in some good pieces. I think as a Colts fan, I think Matt Eberflus is a pretty good defensive coach. So I think that defense could take a step. But I do believe that Green Bay has the best defense. So how are they going to try to win that division? Play defense, run the ball, protect the rookie quarterback. Look at what, and I don't want to call anyone Saquon Barkley, but would you say A.J. Dillon's a better pass catcher than we realized?
Yes.
Would you say that Aaron Jones knows he's on his way out of Green Bay and he's probably going to make some business decisions because he's going to want one last contract?
If he can get it, I don't think he's gonna. But
well, I mean, we see what the veteran market is for running backs right now. But why wouldn't we want A.J. Dillon? Currently going off the board, I just had this RB34 between Antonio Gibson and Alexander Madison. To me, we'll call that the value pocket. And you know, they're going behind guys like Pacheco. Pacheco's a sell for me. I do like James Cook. Devon Achane. I mean, I like Roschon Johnson. Zach Charbonnet. Is there a world where if you had Zach Charbonnet, and I come to you and say, Jerry, I'd like to give you this. I would never do this, by the way, but if I would come to you and say, Jerry, I would like to give you this A.J. Dillon for that Zach Charbonnet. How fast would you hit accept?
I would hit accept. You want to talk about stability? Zach Charbonnet does not have it. I'd pick up my phone
and I'd just be like, just accept. Yes. No, yes.
I don't even like A.J. Dillon.
I don't like A.J. Dillon either, but I like the athlete.
He's Tony Pollard. He's Tony Pollard to me. Like I think he'll get an opportunity because he has shown it. You know, and I think he's going to be an immediate sell the moment he does. But I get you. You acquire him now, and then when that situation arises, you can have an increased value asset.
Very, very rarely does Jerry hit me with one that I'm like, God damn, that's good. That was one. Because what was A.J. Dillon? What was Tony Pollard? He was a guy who was splitting a backfield with a guy who was overpaid, a little bit older. We got to get this guy out of the way. And when this guy's out of the way, this is the guy. Now, there are different types of running backs. We're not saying from a stylistic standpoint that A.J. Dillon is Tony Pollard. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that the guy who actually is more like Tony Pollard stylistically and Aaron Jones is in the way of A.J. Dillon having a season or two of that peak Zeke workload. Now, A.J. Dillon is a free agent to be, but I just think he's the kind of guy that he's, again, going for RB34. He's going as RB34, so you can literally get him for RB3 prices, and he's got mid RB2 upside on him. So, you know, I will throw in this little stat that I pulled on A.J. Dillon. He was the RB18 from weeks 13 through 18, and he missed a game in there due to his bye. So I think there's upside in this kid, and again, Aaron Jones has missed time, going to be protecting the brand, I guess, a little bit. So, Jerry, those are a lot of win now targets.
And just, I was pretty sure, you mentioned earlier that AJ Dillon is a better receiving back than we thought. I mean, 34 receptions 2 years ago, 28 receptions last year. You look at Tony Pollard, I think it's like 30 something. Yeah, 39 the last 2 years. Pretty damn close. I would bet that 95 out of 100 people would not have guessed they were that similar in receptions, because AJ Dillon doesn't look like he catches the ball, right? He's got Quadzilla. But
let's go out. So the player profiler group is still wrapping up #Dynasty Week.
Yep.
I think it ends either tomorrow or Tuesday, and they've been doing a lot of flag plants and everything. Jerry, let's go out with a bold prediction. Prediction. Are you ready? You can co-sign or you're not. You're going to look back 12 months from now, and you're going to wish that you had AJ Dillon on your roster more than DeAndre Swift. I can't say that they're going to be worth more.
Yeah,
but the points you're going to get from AJ Dillon this year will be much more valuable than the points you get from DeAndre Swift. I said what I said.
It's spicy, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities, my friend. There is too much touchdown competition with DeAndre Swift for my liking.
Well, I gotta say, so this reunion is going to be short-lived for a week. Again, I'm going to Jerry's home state. I'm hoping you come and catch a baseball game. I don't know what your work schedule is like. I know you're in Ames. We're going to be in Cedar Rapids. I'd love to see your face. Vinny would absolutely get a kick out of seeing you come to a ball game. But I will not be here. Again, our buddy Matty Kiwoom, fresh off his podcast with Alan Seslowski of RotorWire. You got to check that out. If you haven't checked out Matty, you guys are going to love this. Imagine like East Coast Jerry. Now, Jerry's Midwest Jerry, because Jerry's Jerry and Jerry's from the Midwest. But Matty is like East Coast Jerry. It's going to be like, it's going to be a party. That's what I'm going to say. It's going to be a party next week with Jerry and Matty. And then tomorrow, I don't want to say my guest yet for the Kiss the Ring podcast. I may have to do it solo. I may have to go to a backup. But I will be doing a Kiss the Ring tomorrow night, Monday, right here on the Player Profiler channel. Jerry, what do you have as we wrap this one up and get on out of here?
What do we always say, Randy? Value and volume. You can find so much value in these older win now type guys. Go and get them, especially now before they start scoring points.
And I'm really proud that we didn't say names like Joe Mixon and Mike Evans, and not that there's anything wrong with those guys, but the industry is starting to squeeze the value out of those guys. I was talking about Joe Mixon, go get Joe Mixon when he was having the quote-unquote alleged legal issues. When we were talking about, they were going to cut him. They were going to draft a rookie really high in the draft. Here's the thing. Cincinnati's in a win now sitch. They want to win a Super Bowl. Everybody's young. Everybody's on rookie deals. They need Joe Mixon. He's part of the core of this team. So, but we didn't do that. We didn't get over crazy on the Joe Mixon hype. Now, just real quick, remember both. If you're YouTube, Player Profiler, Dynasty WarZone. If you're audio, Player Profiler, Dynasty WarZone. Subscribe to 2 channels. That really helps us out a lot. If you want to help us out even more, we have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Dynasty WarZone. All of my latest buys and people that I'm trying to get, I've been putting in the Patreon group chat for a week. If someone hit you up for some of these guys, probably a good chance one of our patrons come and ask you for them. So that's all I got. Jerry, anything else? And I'll get you back to the lovely Mrs. Jerry, and maybe you guys can have like one last fruity drink.
Ooh, a little Mai Tai action? No, I'm good, man. Thanks for everybody in the chat. You guys were absolutely kick-ass. Not a surprise.
Chat was killer tonight. Thank you guys so much. I'll be back tomorrow.
And if you're watching on YouTube, we got the banner. I haven't seen the banner. We're official now, bud.
No, we've cleaned it up. You got at least go check out the YouTube. Go check out the YouTube Player Profiler. Search Dynasty WarZone. You'll see the new backgrounds. Shout out to the graphics crew here at the DWZ. You got Seth and Aaron and all these really cool guys hooking us up with the good stuff. But anyway, we're going to get out of here. Have a great work week. We'll catch you next time.